I get the rationale of having to split yourself amongst different friends because not all of your friends will be able to take all sides of you. Like, I have good friends that I can't have deep philosophical conversations with. So I understand that. But when I see a lot of people trying to love that way and be intimate that way, I think they're running into the same problems that show up as anxiety and stress and depression and whatever. There was always, for me, an incompatibility with my nature. I like long-term consistency. The hobbies and things I enjoy, I want to get better at them. I want to keep extending them. I want to move forward with them. I want to trust things and people I engage with where I get deeper and deeper into them and experience more and more into them. So hooking up or having any kind of relationship with anyone or anything that barely takes a step forward and you're always back to zero, I don't feel like I'm progressing in my life. Do you know what I mean? And as such, I don't feel like I experience myself openly and wholly as I would, where I focus and try and do the best I can in one direction and be a more whole person as completely as I can in one direction. And I think that's what a lot of people are maybe experiencing. I'm just hypothesizing from a distance because I don't sort of get off in that environment, that they're showing up always as like 5% of themselves. And they, rather than showing up whole as 100% of them, they show up in different masks, acting in different modes depending on the person they're with. Because I've seen it with women where a lot of them come empty to relationships. They don't have any personality. And so if you're the guy that likes movies, all of a sudden they like movies. Or if you're the guy that likes kayaking, they like kayaking or whatever. And I see men adopting a very feminine way of relating where they fragment themselves everywhere and they're more and more empty. And there's this underlying malaise or dread where you're never really feeling alive in situations where you think you should feel alive, like intimately with somebody. And if you actually look at why, it's because it doesn't work for you. You know, look at an extreme example. When you skydive, it's all about that moment jumping out of a plane. You're not thinking about your taxes. You're not thinking about your wife, children, or girlfriend. And it's the same thing when you're in the realm of being with someone intimately. If you've got part of your mind thinking about the wife and kids you're cheating on, you've got multiple mistresses, you're trying to separate your life, you're separating yourself. I think, and again for me, you might think I'm being overly philosophical about things, but I find my life simplified is better. When I complicate my life, whether it's with women or with things, I don't feel it works for me. If I had to try and introduce 5 women at the same time into my life, it would be like me trying to learn 5 really intense musical instruments at the same time. You know, I'm really going to try and learn cello, violin, piano, guitar at an expert level all at the same time. Or I'm not just going to learn Japanese as a language. I'm going to learn Japanese, French, Spanish, Dutch, Portuguese, you name it. I'm going to learn a whole multitude of languages at an expert level intensely at the same time. I can't split my focus like that. And I think that's what people are doing. They're splitting their focus and as such splitting themselves. And they're doing it for safety's sake, I get it. But they're relating at a distance all the time. And unlike friends that I know that I only visit them in small doses, and so I can visit a friend and share with them the parts that are similar with me, like say I catch up with a friend who's intellectually similar to me. Because we only catch up in that short amount of time and we catch up in a certain way, it can work. Or if you go to work during the day, you can compartmentalize yourself and put on a mask effectively and work there. When you go and hang out with certain friends, you're in a certain mode or a certain part of yourself is shared. But because a lover or an intimate relationship requires you, the mode of being intimate with someone requires you to be loose and free, it presupposes not acting. And when people do, I think they don't realize how it affects them psychologically. And when they start introducing multiple lovers, they might think, I'm free, I'm not tied down. But psychologically, I think you're weighed down. I mean, take a look at the amount of pieces on the table you have to keep an eye on if you're juggling multiple partners compared to one partner. Sometimes one partner or a bad partner is too much. Imagine trying to do it with 5 people. Now you might think, well, no, I'm not committed to any of them. But psychologically, you are. Your attention's committed. And so I think a lot of people, in an attempt to protect their heart, are fragmenting themselves everywhere in this modern culture of diversifying your investments. So if one investment goes bust, you're not as badly hurt. So to avoid heartbreak, you split your heart amongst a multitude of people in terms of lovers and relationships and hooking up. But that dynamic doesn't work that way. That dynamic is diving in to a deep pool. You can't sort of walk around barefoot in puddles and say you're diving into a pool, to use some sort of loose metaphor. If you want to really dive in, you can't go in really shallow. Across a multitude of relationships, it's kind of the difference between quality and quantity. The intensity of something that's quality versus spreading yourself amongst quantity and calling that a life. I just thought I'd put that forward as an added aspect to people showing up as false with masks, people with empty personas, particularly what I've experienced in the past, women being empty shells, and all of a sudden you think you're compatible and they're into everything you're into, but they're just doing a similar thing where they're almost turning up as an empty section of themselves that you can fill up. And then when they get settled, it's like a human instinct to want to be whole, because you realize this is your life with this person and you can't be whole because they're not like you. And then you rinse, repeat. You enter into another relationship with someone only partly there as yourself, but convincing yourself you're in a full-time relationship, and the cycle continues. Anyway, let me know your thoughts below. How you think about this, where people show up part way, whether they're conscious about it, and how they split themselves amongst a lot of people to protect themselves from being heartbroken, but never experiencing any one thing fully. So, I mean, to me, it's pointless. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, share my videos on your social media. That really helps me out. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, thumbs down if you didn't. And if you feel like saying thank you, donation links below. I really appreciate you guys who have donated this month. It means a lot. I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.